Hello and welcome to Lord of the Rings, the Living Card Game Progression Series. I'm the White Tower Watchman. Now we're doing Conflict at the Carrock. This is more different than any other quest we've done so far, as it focuses more on combat than questing, which, to the extent of which we can really only say about this quest, is most of the other ones so far have been about questing. Now I just want to take one moment before we get started and before we look at the cards to just say something about the channel. In case you're just joining us, maybe this is the first video you've watched and you didn't start at the beginning, I pretty much just want to restate the mission statement of the channel. I began this as just sort of a way to look at the natural progression of the life cycle of this game, starting all the way from the beginning. It's supposed to pay homage to the living card game format, the FFG design philosophy, and show appreciation for that. Everything I say in these videos is totally opinion. I'm not trying to imply in any way that there's a right or wrong way to play this game, because it's a game. It's a co-op game at that, so it's mostly just all about fun. So if you're someone who's wondering why progression, why are you doing it this way, why are you using the same heroes, that kind of thing, I'm in no way trying to say that you can't go take, Gandalf, Treebeard, and Elrond and throw them into a deck that's 40 threat and go take it on the first mission, passage through Mirkwood, and rename that mission Let's Murder Spiders. That's a fun thing to do, and in fact I'd encourage you to do that. It's a blast, and it might not be as easy as you think starting with 40 threat, by the way, because this game is designed extremely well. There's no right or wrong way to play this game. I want to say that up front. Progression style, cycle progression style, however you want, throwing over all the most powerful heroes in a deck. There's no wrong way to play this game, and I'm not trying to insinuate in any way that you're not an elite gamer if you don't do it this way or that way or anything like that. This is just to explore the natural progression of the game, and take a look back on it now that it's 99.9% over. I think we can all agree. And the two main reasons that I did it this way is to encourage new players, not only to be able to go over rules and strategies and toss ideas around and put our heads together and try to come up with some cool strategies, and show people that sometimes this quest they're having trouble with, that just maybe a card interaction or two they need to see, and then boom, it all clicks. And to encourage those new players that you can take, there's a reason I picked these 6 heroes, okay? You can take the core set heroes, you can take fundamental heroes, you don't have to do anything crazy, no gimmicks, nothing crazy like that, and you can play through the first couple cycles, all the way up until about Shadow and Flame, which is the boss fight for the second cycle, and you can play completely fundamental play styles using the cards that are out at the time. Aragorn, Legolas, Theodred, attacker, defender, attacker, resource generator. We got a card drawer in Bilbo, a treachery canceller in Eleanor, and a willpower quester in Eowyn. And you can use these absolutely basic concepts that your heroes fill roles for, and you can use the most basic cards in the game that you see in the core set in the first 2 cycles, and you can enjoy the natural progression of the game. You can appreciate the LCG design philosophy and the creative minds at FFG and I'm not trying to kiss anybody's ass saying that. I'm just saying there's a beauty to the natural progression of this game, and it's to encourage players and show them that the most fundamental play styles can work in those first few cycles. The reason I say Shadow and Flame, I tend to switch things up, is because it's a giant boss fight, and we don't have to go into detail about this right now, but there's a setup to that scenario. A lot of times later in scenarios, they'll have certain setups that'll encourage like certain play styles. So for instance, Shadow and Flame reduces your threat all the way to 0 at the very beginning. Well, in that case, you want to run the most powerful heroes you got, because you don't have to pay for them. You know, you can run 49 threat in heroes, if that was even possible, which is not, but I think 40 is the highest you can go. And, well, basic without, you know, other crazy cards like contracts and stuff. And with 3 heroes, 40 is the highest you can go. And in that quest, you know, it would make sense to run your Elrond, to run all these Aragorns and Treebeards and all this stuff, because they lower your threat all the way at the beginning. Similarly, later in this game, there'll be gimmicky stuff like you'll start riding on ships, you'll do all these crazy things like, you know, there'll be quests like Mount Graham or To Catch an Orc, I believe it is, the second one in the Ringmaker cycle, where they take all your allies out of your deck, or they take all your weapons out of your deck, you get captured, you do this, you get separated from your party and create your own game or whatever. Like, they'll do all these crazy things. But while we're in the beginning, while we're playing these basic scenarios that are designed to teach you the game, and it's easy now to look back on it and everyone says, oh, Mirkwood cycle's the worst, right? It's easy to look back like that, but at the time, you have to understand, like, this game had a intention to progress in a natural way, and exploring the game this way, if this channel is going to be a passion project exploring the life cycle of this game and how the card pool grew, I just want to kind of do it in a way that pays homage to that. But I'm by no means saying, you know, you shouldn't be playing Lord of the Rings if you play on sleazy mode or easy mode, or you only use Gandalf, or, you know, whatever. Like, no, this is about having fun. There's no wrong way to play this game. I'm not saying that. I mean, you might be taking a little bit of the intended difficulty out if you play on sleazy mode, or give your heroes extra resource or whatever in terms of balance. But again, like, if you want to do that, that's completely up to you. You play the game how you want to play the game and have a good time. So I just wanted to restate that kind of the mission statement of this channel. I didn't have one particular focus when I started this channel. I just wanted to explore this game, and, you know, now that it's over. So while we're at the beginning, we're just going to keep things real basic. Your Aragorns, your Legolas, your Theodred, those kind of heroes, you know, and just the basic cards that came out. I'm not going to throw in Sword Thane and give myself a 4th hero, and then throw in the Outlands and throw in the Harad, and put Prince Emerhill in here and change people from allies to heroes and do all these crazy Sylvan effects, pop in and out of play. Noldor, play from my discard pile. Discard a bunch of cards to play like a dwarf would, and then, like, you know, discard cards off your deck, and all these great, like, we're just going to keep everything absolutely as simple as possible, so we can see how this, if this is an analysis of how the game progressed. This channel will give people an opportunity to see the slow progression of the living card game, and it'll be a testament to that design philosophy. That's not to say we're not going to have fun. I mean, I definitely want to pull out some heat. Yeah, I'm going to be running Elrond when we fight that Balrog. Don't think I'm not, you know what I mean? And also, don't limit yourself to one playstyle either. Try to play this way for a challenge, and then go ahead and then pull out the big hitters and have all your fun stuff and all that great, you know, all that goodness. This channel is also meant to showcase what those different play styles bring. So, when you play progression style, you're basically training your instincts, right? So if you consider this as a lifestyle game, this is a hard game to master, and it's a game that people think, this is a lifestyle game that people actually like think about outside of the tabletop, right? You'll talk to your friends, your buddy who you run your 2-player sessions with or whatever. You know, you'll talk, oh dude, have you ever thought about running this this card with this card, or how does this work with this? The game, there's a beauty in the game that creates a language, like all LCGs. But this one just does it so well because the theme and the mechanics meld in such a perfect way that it creates like a world to play in, a world to explore. Like almost like it's, I almost think of this as like Middle Earth, but not like the books Middle Earth necessarily. It's kind of like its own thing, right? It's like a representation of that. And it's for you to improvise, explore, create all these different things. So if you play this way, you're going to build instincts in a natural way that's going to make you I do think playing this way will, it's almost like work playing this way a little bit. It's almost like practicing, drilling, right? So it will increase your instincts to play the way I'm playing with this progression format. But again, you don't always want to do that. Sometimes you want to just pull out the Gandalf. You want to pull out the Treebeard. You just want to have a good time and just see what the craziest decks you can make. Okay? So again, to conclude my point here at the beginning of the video, there's no wrong way to play this game. But I just don't want anybody to take like some sort of assumption, make some sort of assumption that I'm saying you have to play the way I play or anything like that. Not at all. Leave your comments. Send me your strategies. I want to hear how you guys play, you know. But just understand why I'm taking this approach. All right, that's enough rambling. So, here's the first deck: Aragorn, Legolas, and Theodred. There's all the cards there. The same ones we used pretty much the whole way through. Okay. Let's go over the new cards we get in this pack. Okay. So, no new leadership allies. We get a new leadership attachment, Dune Day and Warning. We're going to run 3 of them. It's the same as the Mark, except instead of giving an attack bonus, it gives a defense bonus. It's a signal attachment for 1 cost. We're going to put that on Aragorn if we can. And then, what's the other one? Second Breakfast. We're not running this, but it's a good card. Costs 1, and then it says each player pulls an attachment card from the discard pile back to their hand. So you're getting a little crossover in your spheres. Now this is very much like a retrieval card. So leadership and spirit sort of have that crossover there, you know. All right. And then tactics cards. Let's see what the new ones are. Born Aloft. We're running 2 of these. Combos well with Gandalf. It's a way to get Gandalf. If all this deck is going to do being a sneak attack leadership Gandalf deck with a few tactics tricks on the side, this card slots perfectly into our deck because it's a 0 cost card, which means we can play it without using Legolas' spare resources for feints and quick strikes. We can throw this on Gandalf. We still have the resource match in Legolas, and can play Gandalf multiple more times. We're going to run 2 of those. I think that's a good splash. And they get the Bjorning Beekeeper this pack. Great card. This will come up later. I'm going to use it in the 7th level. I believe it's called Into the Pit. One of those first 2 Khazad-dûm quests with all the 2 hit point goblins. This is a great card when you're using Thalon with the 2 hit point goblins that come out because you can clear the whole staging area with one pop. We'll talk about that more next cycle. It's going to stay in the binder for now. Not a bad card though. Overcosted, but it's really just used for its effect. All right. And then we'll go over to our other deck here. So what are the new cards? We got, let's do Lord first. Longbeard Mapmaker. Okay, so this is a deck archetype in itself. I'm not going to run this. So it's the exact same stats as the Erebor Hammersmith, except it costs 1 more. You lose the Craftsman trait, not that matters right now. But the stat lineup is the exact same as the Erebor Hammersmith for 1 more cost. That's why the Erebor Hammersmith cost is so good. Good stats, great hit points. It's just, the thing is, his action is you spend lore resources to give him +1 willpower per resource you spend. Now this would work great in a leadership lore deck where you got the Steward of Gondor out there and you can really buff this guy up, you know, have him go questing for like 8 or something like that. You got all these resources saved up. This would work great. It would also work great in a Glowing Engine deck where, say you put Glowing in a deck with you get a couple of Citadel plates on him or Citadel plate on him. He starts generating, you know, 10 resources a turn or something like that, and you put a Song of Wisdom on him. And maybe the only green card you have in your whole deck, because you're already running leadership for Glowing and tactics for the Citadel plate. Maybe the only green card you run in your whole deck is this guy, but you put like a couple Song of Wisdoms in there and 2 of these guys, 2 Songs of Wisdom. It's like a little combo in the middle of your deck if you draw it. So it's its own thing. We're not really going to use that because it's like a whole deck in itself. We might pull this out with some dwarves, but there's generally you just don't have the deck space for this guy unless you're building around like that gimmick. And then the next card is a Burning Brand. We're going to run 2 of these, one of the best cards in the game. It got an errata. It got an FAQ entry because it used to just say attached to a lore character. cancel all shadow effects, you know, dealt to enemies while attached character defends those enemies or whatever. And now it's restricted, so it takes up one of your 2 restricted slots, and it says you have to exhaust it to cancel a shadow effect just triggered. So it's still an amazing card. I mean, that's still fantastic. It's just more balanced now. I like the new update. And by the way, this completely, just like Dunedain Mark removed that 1 cost tactics boost where it's like, what is it, Blade Mastery? Just like Dunedain Mark removed Blade Mastery from our card pool like forever, this is going to remove Dark Knowledge from our card pool basically forever. I mean, Dark Knowledge still has a corner case where you could use this, but Burning Brand, for the 1 extra cost to actually cancel the effect no matter what it is, for 1 restricted slot, that's usually worth it. Okay, let's look at our new spirit cards here. We got Aemond. He revolves around this Rohan ability where after he leaves play, you ready all your Rohan characters. It's a great ability. Throw 2 of these in your deck, get like a global readying effect. But we just don't have enough Rohan to justify this right now. Rohan is going to be one of the, actually it's the very first archetype that's introduced in this game. Almost every Rohan card in the game, with the exception of Glaeowyn, a couple other exceptions, are Spirit and Tactics. They're about hitting hard, hitting fast, charging out to meet the enemy in the staging area. Raw stats, raw power. They're not like, you know, your tricksy kind of stealthy sort of, you know, it's Rohan. You're discarding characters to trigger very powerful effects. And I like thematically that they introduced these guys before Gondor, because I feel like they're like, you know, kind of like your all around good guys, you know. So I think now this is something we can keep in mind for later, but we're not going to do it right now, not for the cost. And the other spirit card is Nora My Stranger, which of course this is the first of many cards they'll introduce like this, where you'll basically, it's a title, you'll pay 1, you'll give somebody the Rohan trait. So they introduced this card, and then they waited like a bunch of cycles, and then they finally introduced, like, you can give somebody the elf traits, Sylvan and Noldor. And then they did like Gondor, Noble, Ranger, all that kind of stuff. I think the only thing you can't make, I think the only thing you can't make someone is a dwarf in this game. You pretty much make them like any of the other major traits. Not minor, like obviously you got like stuff like Woodsman, right? Dale, things like that. Old Dale's, I guess, a major trait now, but in terms of like the broad sweeping traits that encompass multiple expansions and things like that, I think the only one that you can't actually make someone is a dwarf. But I could be wrong. I don't know if I've looked at every last card, but this is the first one, and then it was the only one for a while. They did this, and then it went away for a while. But that's cool, because if you make people Rohan characters, and then that Aemond guy leaves play, you could then ready those characters. I mean, but again, this takes up a lot of deck space to pull all this stuff off. It's multi-card combos, and so that's like if we wanted to do that, we'd have to kind of build a whole nother deck, and I'm just trying to slot in cards to tweak our original decks from the core set. Alright, and then of course we get our Song of Wisdom. Now this is the second of the 4 songs that are going to come out. This is our neutral card, our second neutral card, our third overall. We got Gandalf, the Song of Kings, the Song of Wisdom. Okay, these neutral cards are going to give dual sphere decks an opportunity to resource smooth, and they're going to give, you know, maybe you have a predominantly monosphere deck, but you have like 1 or 2 cards from that you've slotted in from another sphere. You could throw one of these guys on there and give your heroes other traits for basically for the cost of taking up deck space. For 1 cost, you could give somebody 2 spheres. I think this one's even going to work better than our Song of Kings, because that other deck is predominantly leadership, and we're giving Legolas the Song of Kings if we draw it to sort of resource smooth, right? But this deck is predominantly spirit. So if we give people Song of Wisdom, it'll actually help us play like all the minor, like the non-predominant sphere. So it'll help resource smooth. If we can get one of these out, you can basically have 2 lore and 2 spirit heroes. Okay. The last thing it's going to be good for, alternatively, is if you want to put one of those burning brands on someone else besides Bilbo, or lore ally, You could put a Burning Brand on, say, Aragorn after he gets a Song of Wisdom. So in a lot of ways, this is probably the most sought after song in the game, because making people lore characters is generally stronger than making people other kind of characters, due to not only the resource smoothing, but all the songs give you, but also the fact that, Burning Brand and things like that. I think lore has a lot of cards that will say, like, you have to have a lore hero to do this or that or whatever. So there's our new cards. Okay, here's what we're running. Alright, let's get started while the Rohan song plays. Here's our game. We've got our starting threats set up, 29-25. We got our first player token out. We're going to shuffle our decks and draw starting hands. Shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to mulligan this. It's not very good. Let's see what we get. A lot of card draw. Now I just need to draw an ally, right? Okay, let's draw our second player's hand. We'll keep that, why not? Alright. Now let's set up our encounter. Grimbeorn's quest. While searching for Gollum in the Anduin Valley, you receive word that a group of trolls have come to the Carrock. At the Carrock to the staging area. Okay, so we're doing that. There it is. It's immune to player card effects. It has 2 threat. We can't travel to it except through quest card effects. While the Carrock's active location, troll enemies get +1 attack, +1 defense. I wonder what stage 2 is going to be. Alright. Then we remove the 4 unique trolls from the encounter deck. There they are. And then we remove 4 copies of Sacked. Okay, here's them. There's still 1 more copy of Sacked here. You have 5 in the deck, so you always start with 1. And then it says shuffle 1 Sacked card per player back in the encounter deck. So you basically get 1 more than the number of players in the game. And we'll give this a couple shuffles. We'll move these 2 sacks from the game entirely. And let's flip our quest card. So, as this area is under the watch of the Bjornings, you seek out their leader, Grimbeorn the Old, and Discovery is already set out in a rage. You follow, hoping to find him before he confronts the trolls. Then it says, after placing the 7th progress token on Grimbeorn's quest, the Carrock becomes the active location. Discard the previous active location from play. Well, if you haven't guessed already, if we have 1 more quest card, I'm assuming what's going to happen is when we make 7 progress, this card becomes the active location. These trolls are probably going to come into play. Spoiler alert. And then you have an all-out fight with 4 trolls that are 34 threat. So, this quest is very beatable. It's a lesson in threat control and turtling and defensive strategies. So, unlike that hill troll in the second quest, Journey Along the Anduin, that gets you at threat 30, these don't come hit you until threat 34. So you have some time to build up. And if you can build up a big enough force and keep your threat low enough, you can take 1 of these trolls at a time, and then this whole quest becomes super easy. But if you try to run in and fight all 4 of them at once, I wouldn't. It's not very doable. Should mention 1 more strategy right now. Besides the turtling, okay? So we understand the turtling is we're trying to stay on this quest card as long as possible. That's why I took out the Calabrian Stone. That's why I took out a few different willpower boosts, because at the end of the day, you don't want to advance beyond this quest. We might quest with just Eowyn by herself a lot of times, and maybe Theodra to generate a resource. And if you notice here, they don't make you reveal any cards. Most quests will say reveal what kind of card per player or something like that. There's a reason they're not making you do that, because they're trying to bait you into running all the way through this quest immediately. No, just let this Carrock sit out here, try to break even with the willpower every round, use her abilities to your advantage, with maybe even a Protector of Lorien, to where you can guesstimate, maybe you quest a little under, and then maybe you discard a couple cards and break even every round, and just build your way up to being able to fight these trolls and trying to kill 1 a turn. It's going to take about 12 to 14 damage, I think, to kill most of these trolls every turn. But if you can do it that way, it's easy to handle. So the other strategy I was going to discuss really quick before we get started is don't be afraid to use Gimli in this quest. You'll find that Gimli against things like trolls and balrogs and things like that, he's one of those big boss killer guys. So you use 2 tack, maybe you replace like a Theodred or an Aragorn with a Gimli, right? And then you throw Gimli in here, and you have 2 tactics heroes, and that way every 2 turns you can play a Citadel plate, and then in like 4 turns you could have 2 Citadel plates sitting on that guy, and then let him take a couple undefendeds to the face, and then essentially he can start swinging for like 14 at the max. So and he can kill a troll in like 1 hit easily. And then if you can ready him a couple times, he can take out a couple trolls a turn. So don't be afraid to use, or actually, strongly consider using Gimli for these quests with big hitters on them. I'm just using these guys because I want to try to keep things as similar as possible to what we've been doing. All right, resource phase number 1, and turn number 1. Simultaneously, everyone gets a resource, and we draw a card for each player, and then the first player will draw an extra card, remember, because we actually have Bilbo. Okay. And now let's play some stuff. So first player is going to play Campfire Tales. We'll go ahead and do this in the resource phase. We'll still call this the resource phase. Each player is going to draw a card. That's what Campfire Tales is. It just says each player draws a card. Okay, see, we've got all this lined up, but we just need to get an ally out there. Ain't got nothing to play, so we might as well do this. Let's put our resource smoothing on Legolas. Let's go ahead and spend this and put our magic number 4 attack on Legolas. So now he's got 4 attack and a leadership icon. Okay, let's go to this other side here. This player is just simply going to play a Wandering Took and a Henmarth River Song. Alright, I don't think there's anything in this encounter deck that does damage to exhausted characters. So we're going to go ahead and peek at the top card of the encounter deck. Exhaust Henmarth to look at the top card of the encounter deck. Just in case we did give this a couple shuffles, we'll give it a couple more. Okay, look at the top card of the encounter deck. It's a location. That's great. Alright. So we're now going to have 4 thread plus whatever that second card is. So we'll quest for 1, 2, 3. We'll give Aragorn a resource, and then we'll spend a resource to ready him. With this trigger here, Theodred, after he commits to a quest, add 1 resource to a hero's resource pool that's also on the quest. And then after he commits to a quest, spend 1 resource from his resource pool to ready him. So we gave him a resource, we spent it, we ready Aragorn. Over here we're going to quest for 4. Okay, I think that's it. We'll just quest for 7, see what happens. So first card, we know what that is. It's the Oakwood Grove. Second card, Goblin Sniper. Perfect. So there's 6 to 7, we do 1 progress. That's about the rate you want to be at. Okay, let's travel to the Oakwood Grove. Let's optionally engage this guy here. Okay. And we'll deal him a shadow card. We'll defend with Aragorn, 2 to 2. Real shadow effect, +1 attack. Aragorn takes 1 damage. Now we're going to attack with Legolas. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 2 hit points, no defense. It's 4 damage. He's dead. I'm not going to trigger my progress. We're going to leave this all right here. Alright. It's the end of the first round. It's got 1 wound. Let's ready all our cards. Raise our threat by 1 past the first player token. Before we begin the next round, I want to try something here. So, one of our esteemed viewers said this is a hotkey. I can hit Control A, and it puts it in this active location perfectly. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. That looks so much better than how I had it, which was like hanging out here. Okay, so now, boom, active location. Some of the stuff I do manually, guys, because like I could hotkey this, and I could go ready for refresh, ready for next round. It'll raise all this stuff up for me. It'll raise my threat by 1. It'll pass, it'll put a round marker on the first player token. I'll drag the first player token over here. It'll already draw, but it'll like draw your card and give you resources in advance, and sometimes that confuses me if I still have things to do. Like I might want to take refresh phase actions, so I don't always do it that way. That's why it's annoying at the end of every round. I stand everything up manually, but that's why I'm doing it. Okay, so next resource phase. First player draws 2 cards. There's our Burning Brand. Second player draws a card. Alright. Let's take a peek at that encounter deck again with Henmarth River Song. We'll still call this the resource phase. Bee Pastures. Oh, this guys, this is gonna be so awesome. Okay, nice big encounter deck there. We're gonna save everything. We're not gonna play nothing over there. And then over here we're not gonna play anything either. Except for one Dunedain Warning on Aragorn to give him 3 defense. Alright. I guess I could have quick strike that goblin too. That would have been a waste of a quick strike. I have a couple healers in here if this gets out of control, so we'll go to questing. We'll quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll toss a resource to Eowyn. I'll spend a resource to stand Aragorn. To ready Aragorn. Alright, tossing with Theodred, and then readying with Aragorn's ability. Let's see, we're questing for 7. Let's see what comes out. We know the first one's a location. Bee Pastures. Okay, we're beating it by 4 right now. Let's see what the next thing is. Hopefully it's like a location or something. Okay, Banks the Anduin. That's awesome. So, 4 up here. Request for 7. Beat it by 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Okay, we're going to travel to the Bee Pastures. After you travel to Bee Pastures, let's do our hockey. Boom. Alright. After you travel to Bee Pastures, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Grimbeorn the Old and add him to the staging area, then shuffle the encounter deck. Okay. This is going to be awesome. I literally like never get this guy. It's so cool. Okay. Okay, shuffle the encounter deck up again. There he is. So he's got 2 willpower, 4 attack, 3 defense, 10 hit points. He doesn't exhaust to defend against troll enemies, which is awesome. And then you can take an action, spend 1 leadership resource to place a resource on him. If he has 8 or more resources, we've used our leadership to convince him to join us. And I like that art there, which shows like a guy trying to parlay with him. And then he, you know, come attack them trolls with us. And another cool thing is, it's just basically nice to get him out so he doesn't come up as like a shadow card and we like miss our chance at him or whatever. Alright, so he's going to help us fight the trolls if we can ever convince him to join our side. And then this is going to be our active location. Now this location we just explored allows you to use any resources to get him on your team. But we barreled through that. I didn't have a Strider's Path. If I had a Strider's Path, I would have probably Strider's Path this, put him in the staging area, and then traveled here this round, because then it would have set us up to get him next turn. So that's a little trick you can do with Strider's Path, but I didn't have one. But we'll still end up getting him. We're in a good place right now. Okay, no engagement, no combat. We're gonna ready all our cards. Raise our threat by 1. Pass the first player token, and go the next round. First player draws 2 cards. Second player draws a card. There's that. Let's take a peek at the encounter deck with this guy in the resource phase. It's a Marsh Adder. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I think we're going to spend 3 leadership resources to put 3 resources on him. That's all we're going to do this turn. And then over here, we're going to play a Song of Wisdom on her. Now we got resource smoothing. Might as well play the burning brand on her as well. Could have done this on Aragorn too, but it's okay. Now that we have this, Aragorn's job is like to defend trolls if they come out, and now that we'll probably end up getting this guy before the trolls come out, so we're not too worried about that. And I really want to have the first Song of Wisdom to give me resource smoothing. That's what I'm primarily concerned about. Alright, we'll play this guy for 4. Yeah, that's good. Alright, let's go questing. Like, we know what the first card was, we saw what that was. So, do our normal. 1, 2, 3. Toss him a resource, and then ready him with these 2 effects. We'll quest with all these guys. So we'll quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When he quests, response is after he commits to a quest, place 1 progress token in each location in the staging area. This is immune to player card effects. Place 1 here. Okay. Staging card 1. Staging card 2. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up against 9. So we made 3 progress. 1, 2, 3. Moving right along. We'll travel here, get out of the staging area. Can become nasty later. Oh, I'm sorry. Control A. Muscle memory. Alright. Now see, this is pretty awesome. Now I don't have to burn a quick strike. We're going to optionally engage this guy here. It says if he damages a character, discard that character from play, and then you have these other muck adders that can show up as shadow effects that give you -1 defense. You also have a card called Despair that can make that character not count its defense. There's 2 of those. So, attacks for 2, and if it gets any damage through it all, you gotta discard that character. So if you defend with a hero, you gotta discard it. Now, why were we gonna put him here? So we can defend with this burning brand. Just like this. So no matter what it gets as a shadow effect, we can cancel it. So, deal a shadow card. Defend for 2 against 2. What's the shadow effect? There. Hey, look, guys, there it is. Defending character does not count its defense. Normally should be discarded right now. But I'm going to cancel that shadow effect, the burning brand. Alright. I was actually planning, since 4 is our magic number once again, I was actually going to just quick strike him with Legolas. If I wouldn't have drawn the burning brand, I would have just quick struck him with Legolas. I would have you can even see like what the shadow effect is, and then once it says that like it doesn't count as defense, you can then quick strike and kill him before he comes to his next step and has a chance to do his damage. Otherwise, you pretty much want to chump block with an ally to make sure you don't lose anything important. So now we're going to attack for 4. Ranged attack with the ranged keyword. Attack an enemy, engage somebody else. Deal 4 damage, no defense. It's destroy. Okay. And that's all we're going to do. So round 3 is over. We're going to ready all our cards. We're going to raise our threat by 1. Pass the first player token, go to round 4. Alright, first player draws 2 cards, collects resources. Second player draws a card and collects resources. Alright. Thinking. I don't think we're going to do anything over here. Well, we'll peek at the encounter deck. This guy's action. Look at the top card of the encounter deck. It's another location. Sweet. It's not going to do nothing over here. I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 leadership resources. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to spend 3 and put 3 more on it. And that's all. So now we'll go questing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put a progress on this. 7. I think we're just going to go with 7. And we'll toss her a resource. Alright. Quest for 7. First card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second card, we're up by 2. Oh, we're down by 1. Okay, that's fine. Let's discard 1 card for Aowen so we can break even. What do we got here that we don't need? We're not going to need this anytime soon. So we'll discard that. No, actually we're not. We might use that this round. Let's discard this Born Aloft. So now we're breaking even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We discarded 1 card from the second player's hand. He triggered Aowen's ability. It can be triggered by each player once per round. So request for 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We broke even. Okay. Not traveling anywhere, obviously. We'll go ahead and take this guy right now because this could be a disaster. So we'll take him. He'll, in our engagement phase, we'll optionally engage him. We will deal him a shadow card. And I think what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to defend with Aragorn. Okay? Each time the Marsh Adder attacks you, raise your threat by 1. So that's still the defending player does that. So they raise their threat by 1, which is this player. We're going to do Sentinel Defense with Aragorn here. For 1, 2, 3, we're going to take 1 damage plus whatever the shadow card is. So we'll take 1 damage. It's 3 defense to 4 attack. And now we're going to play a card. Choose and ready 1 ally card, ever vigilant. You don't see this very often. I'm going to ready this guy. And now this player is going to declare attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With the range keyword piling onto this declaration of attacks against this guy. So we've got 1 defense. We're going to do 7 damage, which is just enough to kill him. Adds to the victory display. Boom. We will trigger... No, we're not going to trigger Legolas. Never mind. We're not going to trigger. Because this guy here is going to be getting rid of both of these locations. And we'll be going down to basically just 2 threat next phase. So we're not going to do that. Now, let's do a hotkey here and see if I get this right. Ready for next round. Boom. Okay, ready for refresh. I did it in the wrong order. Okay. So ready for refresh. Readies all our cards and raise our threat by 1. We pass the first player token back over here. And then ready for next round, puts a resource on everyone and draws a card. Now, because it doesn't account for Bilbo, so I'm going to draw an extra card for the first player. Okay, now in the resource phase, I'm going to spend Campfire Tales, and each player is going to draw a card. Oops. Alright. We're still in the resource phase. I'm going to peek at the top of the encounter deck. Okay, brown lands, there it is. That's good to know. Well, I know what I'm doing. We're going to stand and fight this guy into the brown lands. That's why this scrying is so good. You can see what's coming. Let's do it again. Let's play 1 more Campfire Tales.
Fade from the sky. On the wind I heard a sigh. As the snowflakes cover my fallen brothers, I will say this last goodbye.
So at this point, we're not going to play anything else. We're going to go to planning. We're not going to play anything here. We're going to go to planning, and we are... Yeah, we're not going to play anything here either. I'm going to quest for. If we know we know all this stuff's going away, including the first cards coming out. So we got 2 threat in the staging area, plus. So all we're gonna do is quest with Theodred and give him a resource, and then we're gonna quest with her and him. Now, when these 2 quest, he puts progress in everything. That explores this, and it explores this, and that puts this back on top of the counter deck, so we know what our 2 cards are going to be. Both going to be locations. You see how this turtling strategy works? Get your encounter card breaks, and then you can just really get through this. So first encounter card, 1. Second encounter card, 1. Alright. 5. 5 and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 8 against 4, 5, 6. So what we're going to do here is we're going to discard a card for Eowyn to buffer up by 1. Snowborn Scout. Oops, wrong discard pile. And the second player is going to take an action. Play Stand and Fight. We spent 1. We choose an ally card with the printed cost of X in any player's discard pile. We picked 1. Put that ally into play under your control. It may belong to any sphere of influence, which is anything but a neutral card. So, put this guy in play. When he enters play, place a progress token on a location. Pick this one. Boom. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 1, 2, 3. So we're up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wonderful. Now let's go ahead and travel to Banks to the end of it. And now let's spend 2 leadership resources. And we will grab this guy. Oops. Now he joins the first player as an ally. Sounds good. So I'm going to keep him in the middle here and I'm just moving between the first players. Alright. That's the end of questing, end of travel, no encounters, no combat, ready for refresh. See, like that time it didn't do it. I must have to like do this in some different order. So it didn't raise my threat. It did draw a card. And it did give me resources, but it didn't ready all my cards to raise my threat. So this is so wonky. I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured out what I'm doing wrong there. So we got to draw our second card to account for Bilbo for the first player. Everything else is done. I think this is round 6. Makes sense because we started at 25 threat and 29 threat. So, and then this, yeah. Do we have to raise our threat once for anything, or a shadow effect or something? I'm trying to figure out. So if we started with 29 threat here, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if these guys started with 25 threat, it should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They should be at 30. Something happened there. I don't know. I don't know if I forgot something or if we got a shadow effect or whatever. Yeah, they should be at 30. I may have started with 26, thinking I was playing with Barivor instead of Bilbo. That should be 30 right now. Alright. And if I can remember the reason why it's 1 extra before the end of the game, like something pops in my head like, oh wait, I forgot that thing, then I'll go ahead and move it back down. I don't think that negligible threat's going to matter right now. Alright. It's the first player's ally. And then we'll peek at the encounter deck. Another brown lands. Yep, there's the other one. Alright. Unless we drew another Snowborn Scout, we can't do anything about that. Just have to quest a little harder. I think we're going to play a Wandering Toque and 1 Protector Lorien on Aragorn and 1 Protector Lorien on Eowyn. It's good. Over here, we're going to play an ally, a ranged ally. Nope, sorry, I lied. Give me 1 resource back. I'm going to play the 2-cost ally instead of the 3-cost ally. Then I'll spend this last one on another Untitled Mark. She's got 5 attack now. Okay. I'm going to make sure I do this the right way. Boom. Alright. So, questing. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go a little harder. 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll toss a resource to Aragorn. Spent already. We're going for 8. We know there's going to be 7. There's that. Up by 1. Still up by 1. Each player raises threat by the total threat of all cards in staging area. And a player may choose discard to play 1 creature ally to cancel as well. We're definitely going to cancel that with her. So we're going to cancel this and then move to another card. She can cancel the 1 reveal effect of a treachery, and then you replace it with the next card. Sacked. Nah, that's fine. I figured that was coming eventually. Attached to a hero with no sack attached. Cards, let's see here. Cards attached controlled by the first player. Okay, so we attach it to somebody controlled by the first player. First player chooses, obviously, or I guess the player revealing the card chooses, but I'm assuming if you guys are on a team, you would all discuss that. Attached hero cannot attack, defend, collect, commit to quests, trigger its effect to collect resources. Now we put that on Bilbo. He doesn't have a triggered effect. He has a constant effect in his text box with his extra card draw, so that'll still go off. He just won't collect resources, which is fine because we still got lore resources here. I think Bilbo's a perfect target. And there's no treacheries that deal damage to exhausted characters, so his small hit point sink is not going to be a problem. This also cannot be cancelled. Now, if it comes up as a shadow effect, you see how it says, if attacking enemy is a troll enemy, resolve its 1 revealed effect. I think you can still cancel that with a hasty stroke or whatever. You just can't cancel as a 1 revealed effect. I could be wrong about that. The way I play this quest, it usually doesn't matter either way, because I'm taking so few attacks, and every time you kill a troll, you can discard 1 of these cards, and then I've got the stand-in fights and the dwarf Miner of the Iron Hills, and I usually can take care of these pretty easily. So it doesn't. I usually don't cancel them anyway. But this is like 1 card that can really mess up your day if you get a bunch of people sacked. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up against. Looks like 7. And remember, or did I use Air? Yeah, I used Aragorn too. 8, 9. That's what it says here. So 9 to 7, we made 2 progress. If we make 1 more, we can put that on top of the deck. So let's go ahead and discard a card for Eowyn's ability. We will discard this guy. So we made 3 progress. This goes back on top of the deck because when the banks end when least players explore a location, it goes on top of the deck. We'll travel to the Brown Lands. It says, after players travel to the Brown Lands, place 1 progress token on the card. There's the progress token, it's gone. And that's pretty much a fresh round. So we've been setting up for 6 rounds, and you see what can happen here when you set up for 6 rounds. You're gonna be so ready to take these trolls. All right. So let's do this again. Okay. So I'm gonna double check everything this just did here. So we passed the first player token. It did raise our threat by 1. I can see that. It added a resource to everybody, and it drew a card. Cool. So we just gotta draw that extra card to account for Bilbo. Alright, so maybe we just hit ready for next round every time. That's what we're supposed to hit. You only hit ready for refresh maybe once. I don't know. Now in the refresh phase, let's peek at the deck because it's been working for us so far. Oh, well, we didn't even have to do that. We knew what it was. Banks of Anduin. Alright. We're not going to do anything over here. Could put a second Burning Brand on Bear for Unexpected Courage and have her, like, you know. Oh, he doesn't collect resources, by the way. So the game doesn't account for that because the game hotkeys don't know that I have a sacked on him, but he's not supposed to collect resources. Okay. And now we'll play. It'd be dumb not to do this, so we'll go ahead and play a Unexpected Courage on Legolas. Alright. Alright, that's it, guys. Let's go questing. I think we're going to beat this round. So we'll quest for 4, and then we'll just discard cards if we need to. One. Actually want to beat it this round. 2. Perfect. So there's 4 to 4. Let's discard 2 cards for Eowyn for her ability so we can beat it this round. So we'll go Quick Strike, 1 Quick Strike for this player, and we'll do... am I really going to play both of these guys? I know it's a great card, but I think I'm pretty well set up, and I'd have to draw another Song of Wisdom for it to matter. So we'll just discard it. And I can always get it back with the Erebor Hammersmith too, so I just really don't want to discard anything else. So Eowyn's a 6, we're up against 4. 2 progress, that immediately says after placing the 7th progress, Carrock becomes the active location, discard any previous active location. Not return to the staging area, you actually get a free discard on it. It's like we are kind of getting the habit of this. Control A. Okay. Now we go to the next quest card. As you approach the Carrock, sorry, let me get this nice. As you approach the Carrock and you find the trolls have been watching you from atop the rocky river, a landmark. Alright. Against the trolls, flip it. It only has 1 quest point to beat the quest, but it says as you approach the trolls close in an attack. When revealed, place the unique troll cards previously set aside into the staging area. Players cannot defeat the stage if there are any troll enemies in play. And remember, there are still hill trolls in this deck, in this large encounter deck somewhere that looks like we have not seen yet. We've only been through about a third of the deck, so this is not the largest encounter deck. I think Roscabel and a couple other ones are like Dead Marshes, and maybe even this is roughly like the same size, maybe a couple cards bigger than Journey Along the Anduin, but it's definitely a good medium-sized encounter deck. But I'm hoping we don't run into the other 2 trolls. We ran into the Marsh Adder here, so maybe we'll get lucky on the trolls. It's been very location heavy on the top. If you can get that sort of setup here, you can build forever and you're going to be fine. Well, I actually want to do something here. So we're going to optionally engage one of these trolls. We're going to optionally engage, I think, the one with the attack. Usually I kill this one first because he's the hardest to kill. He's got, this one says, they all do something different. They all have the same responses after defeating Stuart and whoever it is, Stuart, Lewis, Rupert, and Morris. It says after defeating Stuart, you may choose and discard 1 sack card from play. So every one of these you kill, you can discard one of these things. Okay. But they all do something different. Like this gives all trolls +1 defense when he's engaged with you. This gives this one gives all trolls +1 attack. So they basically double up on what the Carrock does, which just gives all trolls +1 attack and defense when it's active location, because it's like their rock formation that they've got the high ground, you know. And then these 2 are the ones I saved for last. This one says when he's engaged with the player, all troll enemies gain forced. After this enemy attacks, defending player must raise his threat by 3. And then this one shuffles all the sacked back from the discard pile in the encounter deck. So the way I do this is I take out these 2 guys first. If I have the attack power set up on the board, I'll usually kill this guy first because he takes the most attack power to kill. And then I'll kill him. Then I'll kill him, and even if he attacks me and raises my threat by 3, as long as there's only one troll left, I'm not worried about getting swarmed by trolls. And then I'll kill him last, because then you usually win the game, and when all those sacks get shuffled back in, they don't really matter. So, this is the, we're in the travel phase now, so I'm going to take a travel action, or this could be the end of the quest phase or the travel phase, it doesn't really matter. We'll call this the end of the quest phase. So I was talking about stuff. So we're still at the end of the quest phase. I'm going to spend 3 resources, and thank God I have these. I'm going to play Galadrim's Greeting, reduce one player's threat by 6, or each player's threat by 2. We're going to reduce the first player's threat by 6. We're going to go down to 29. Okay? And now none of these guys are going to engage us in the engagement phase, no matter which player it is. So we'll optionally engage Stuart. Okay, in the combat phase, we'll deal him a shadow card. Now I'm going to block with Guard of the Citadel. He's going to die a very horrific death. 5 attack, no defense, 2 hit points. So now it's 6 attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dead. Now here's what I'm going to do, guys. I got 3 Valiant Sacrifice here. You get 1 trigger, 1 response per trigger per card. Okay. When they say in the rulebook you get 1 response per trigger, these are all that's a trigger, but these are all 1 responses. What they mean is like, you know, if a Horn of Gondor is on the board, or what they mean is like when this guy exhausts a quest, you can't put 1 progress token on every location and then put another. Like you can't keep responding like boom, 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 boom. That's what they mean by 1 response per trigger. But if you have 3 of these, you can absolutely play, because these are like all different triggers. So we're gonna go 1, boom. We're gonna draw 2 cards. We're going to go 1, boom, draw 2 cards. Last 1, boom, draw 2 cards. So we draw 6 cards off that guy dying. 2 of them were Gandalf. It's pretty nice. Let's get our stuff all organized by sphere. Alright, now it's our turn to declare attacks. So let's make sure we got 14 here. We need 14 to kill him. He's got 4 defense, 10 hit points. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have it exactly 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 with the 2 marks. Alright, so that's exactly 10 damage. Boom, boom. We can't trigger progress because this is immune to player card effects. Alright. Now, after we kill him, we'll discard 1 copy of Sack for play, because he says we can. See? Yeah, response. And just so you know, they're not victory point trolls. They just go in the discard pile, and it is possible that you can run into them again. So you got to kill them all before you get through this encounter deck here. The only thing that's going to hurt our day now is if we run into the other trolls as well. There's like 2 more. You remember that the hill trolls are in here, by the way. Alright, perfect. Alright, that should have done everything. It did raise our threat, looks like. Pass the first player token. We got to draw that extra card for Bilbo. Well, that's cool. Okay. Bilbo gets to collect a resource that round because he's not sacked anymore. And they're just going to stay put. Everybody's going to stay put. We will take a look at the top card of the encounter deck. It's that Despair. That's perfect. It's a good time to get it. Alright. Whoa, we just drew our sneak attack as well. So, we're not going to play anything over here. Or over here. We do have to quest for a lot though, and I think it might be best to do it this way, to actually quest with Gandalf this round. So we're going to take an action in the quest phase. We're going to spend 1. We're going to play sneak attack. We're in the quest phase now. Put 1 ally card into play. At the end of the phase, the ally still in play, return to your hand. We'll put Gandalf in play. And we will we'll lower our threat by 5. I almost want to draw 3 cards, but oh well. Okay. Alright, now we'll quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Toss a resource to Aragorn, spend one to ready him. No. Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. That sounds right. That's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. When he quests, we put 1 progress on everything. Okay. Let's see what comes out. We know the first card. It's going to remove 4 progress from the quest. It's not on there. Now we got rid of that shadow effect too. Roasted slowly. Destroy all heroes with the sack card attached, then shuffle roasted slowly back in the counter deck. So, in this game, the word all from rulings that I've seen can include 0. So, because of the cards like followed by night in the second cycle and things like that, all can include 0. So it does destroy all, it's like any and all heroes with the sack card attached, then shuffle rusted slowly back in the encounter deck. So we'd still do the then. If it had to destroy a hero and it couldn't initiate that, the then would not trigger, because then only happens if everything before it happens. It's like a mechanics word in this game, but it does trigger, so we're going to shuffle it back. And if I got that ruling wrong, guys, you can check me on that, but I'm almost positive that's correct. So there was nobody sacked, so we're going to give that a couple shuffles. Okay? So, like I said, requested for 13. And we're going up against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We made 5 progress. Let's go ahead and discard a card to make sure that's an even 6. We will discard Grim Resolve, because I don't see us being able to play that anytime soon. So 6 progress. That gets rid of the Carrock, which is nice. And where are we going to travel to? Let's travel to Banks. Okay. Oh, sorry. Gandalf comes back to my hand because of sneak attack at the end of the quest phase. Forgot that. Okay, let's go ahead and optionally engage this guy here. Okay. Now, he's going to get a card. Shadow card. We lose the, there we go. We lose the +1 from the Carrock, but he still has the +1 from himself. So he's going to attack for 5. Grim Baron the Old is going to defend this troll, engage the first player. He doesn't exhaust to defend troll enemies. So he's going to take 2 damage, plus whatever the shadow effect is. Okay. It says if attacking enemy is a troll enemy, remove 2 damage from it. Got that same roasted slowly as the shadow card, or maybe the other roasted slowly, I don't know. So there's no damage on it, so that doesn't do anything. Okay. 5 attack, 3 defense, 2 damage. And now we'll take an action. I'll spend 1. And I'm kind of choosing ready now, like, alright, we're just gonna be this guy. Okay, it's the second time that's happened. Okay, so we're gonna declare an attack over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 with the 2 attachments. Okay, so we didn't need this guy. He's going to take 12 damage. We really didn't need to ready him. That was a little bit overkill. I should have done the math ahead of time, but that's okay. We just wasted a resource and a card. We're still going to beat this. Just did a little follow through with this guy. Just a minor, minor imperfect play, but nothing that's going to hurt us at this point. So we're going to do the 12 damage with the extra 2 that we didn't need. Didn't need to spend the resource to ready him. And he's destroyed. Legolas will place his 2 progress on the active location. that's going to explore that location due to its force effect. Gives us another encounter card break. We know what the top card is. You just keep neutralizing that encounter deck reveal. And we'll go ahead and hit our hotkey. So ready all our cards. Raise the threat by 1, pass first player token. Next resource, everybody got a resource, everybody drew a card. Let's get organized here, and then the first player will draw an extra card for Bilbo. Alright, Grimburn always is under control of the first player there. And let's get set up here. Let's see what we want to do for our planning. Okay, I'm going to do the Dunedain trick again with one of these trolls. So we'll spend 3 leadership resources. We'll play our Dunedain here. And then that's going to respond to choose an enemy in the staging area. We're currently engaged with another player, engage him. We'll go ahead and engage this guy, get this threat out of the staging area, and we can neutralize him right now before anything else by playing a forest snare on him. So we'll go to the second player's planning, play forest snare. That's a nice little trick you can do on these big enemies. You can do it on Journey Along the Anduin as well. Okay, so I think we're all set to go with these two guys. These two players that are being controlled by one person. All right. We don't need to peek because we know what the top card is, so he can stay standing. Yep. Yeah. Let's go ahead and quest. 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to place 1 progress and explore this. So we know we'll have 3 threat plus whatever the next card is. Place 1 progress on every location that explores that. Alright. There's that Banks. And then there's the Treachery here. It's going to Massing at Night. So we revealed 2 cards because X is the number of players in the game. We'll go ahead and there's no reason not to cancel this with. We could use Test of Will, but we'll just use Eleanor, so we'll just get the 1 more card instead of 2. Just cancels it all together and replaces the card. Okay, so we got a hill troll. That's nice. That'll make things a little more complicated, but you know, of course we had to have this happen because this is Lord of the Rings, and that's what happens. So 4 threat in the staging area, questing for I think we said 6 or 7. So we put enough progress to defeat the quest there. So, yep. And then we'll travel here. No reason not to. I think we're about to wrap this one up. Defeating that quest has only like 1 progress you have to put on it, so we more than beat it. And now we just have to kill the trolls to win. That's really the main win condition, is killing all the trolls. Even if you don't put any progress on the quest, as long as Legolas makes a last attack, you'll still beat the quest because it only has 1 point on it. So, deal our shadow cards. Okay, we'll go ahead and play our 1 resource for Feint. We'll make sure this guy doesn't attack, so only the 1 troll is going to attack this turn, the hill troll. The other 2 are not. Play our last Feint in our hand on this guy, on that guy over there, and then we'll resolve this attack. We're going to defend with Grimbjorn. He doesn't exhaust to defend troll enemies. He's got 3 defense going up against 6 attack. So he should survive this. I don't see him not surviving this. Alright, no shadow effect, so he's going to get 3 damage. Okay. And now this player is going to declare attacks because we're done with the enemy attacks phase because the other guy doesn't attack. So we'll attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's going to kill this guy. 9 damage. He goes to the victory display. That gets discarded. Put 2 progress tokens on the active location with Legolas' ability. We'll use Unexpected Courage. Alright. So then we'll declare this attack here. 1, 2, 3, 4 against 2 defense. Oh, sorry. While he's engaged me, all troll enemies, when they attack, the defending player raises their threat by 3. So I have to raise my threat by 3 because that troll attacked. I'm fine with that. Okay. And then, so these guys are going to attack for 4. They're going to do 2 damage to him. Now over here, this player is going to declare attacks. 1, 2. We're going to pile on with Legolas. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to deal 5 damage. That ought to work. We could have piled on a little more by standing fighting somebody, but that's fine. Let's actually walk that back for a second. Let's walk that back for a second. We're not attacking yet. Okay, this player here. We just need to cheese in 1 more damage to do what I'm trying to do. I'm not worried about it. We'll do it like this. Here's what we'll do. We'll attack this guy with Legolas because he's got the range keyword. So we're still going to declare attacks over here. So we're going to attack this guy with Legolas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this player has declared 1 attack against each enemy. We declared attack here. These 2 guys. We declared attack against the troll we killed with these 3 guys. Now we declare an attack against this enemy via the range keyword Legolas, and we did 3 damage, 5 to 2 defense. Okay. Now I'm going to take an action. I'm going to spend 2 to play stand and fight, and put this guy in play from my discard pile. Spent 2, put an ally in play from discard pile. Here he is. Discard him to choose and ready a hero. Boom. We're going to ready Legolas. Now we're going to attack. This turn player's turn to declare attacks. They're going to declare an attack with these 2 characters. 1, 2 attack against this troll for 2 defense. Okay? With the ranged keyword, again, this player is not declaring the attack, so it's going to get a chance to attack this guy to pile on with the ranged keyword. Now, you can only, as a player, this is a weird, finicky rule that took me a long time to learn. As a player, you can only declare an attack against each enemy you're engaged with once, or other enemies engaged with other players with the range keyword once. Okay? But characters with the range keyword can pile on to other attacks if another player, during their declare attack step, if that character finds some way to get ready. So the characters aren't limited to how many times they can attack enemies. It's the players are limited to how many times they can declare attacks. And so we just declared an attack with the second player, because technically these are 2 different players. We're playing two-handed. I mean, they're both me, obviously, unless I have some sort of split personality disorder. But this is the second player declaring an attack with 2 characters for 2 attack, this guy, and then Legolas is piling on for another 5. So he's going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's going to be the end of combat. And we'll discard a shadow cards. See what they are. And we'll go the next round. Boom. Now that first player's got to draw an extra card. Got all the resources and stuff. So we will spend 2 on Gleowine. We will have somebody draw a card. Choose a player. We'll have the second player draw a card. There's that Steward of Gondor. Okay. Peek at the top card of the encounter deck. Okay. Why not? We'll play a forest snare and snare down this guy. We're really doing great. I could have saved on that and then just, yeah, we're not going to do that. That's too many resources for something useless. I don't need to do that. We're just going to stay here, not do anything else. Alright, now this player is going to play Steward of Gondor on Aragorn, give him the Gondor trait. Exhaust Steward of Gondor to add 2 resources to attached hero's resource pool. I think that's, well, we'll just do this right now. I'm going to play 1 to quick strike. I'm actually going to wait on that. We'll quick strike. We're going to quick strike this guy and kill him, but I just want to wait on it anyway just to see everything that comes out. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This belongs here. Yeah, we'll just quest for 5. Even if we don't beat it, I don't mind. That's 4, because it gets +1 for each troll in play. Okay, there's the Muck Adder. So it's 5. We did exactly 5 to 5. Let's go ahead and discard 1 card. We'll discard the Born Aloft to boost Eowyn to 6, or to boost her to 5. 6 against 5 is 1 progress. That's going to put Banks to Anduin back on top of the encounter deck, so we know it's our first shadow card. Since this is probably going to be the last round. Okay. We'll travel here. We'll optionally engage him here. We'll deal our shadow cards in engagement cost order. Okay, now, to avoid raising more threat when this troll attacks, because every troll gets his effect, we're going to quick strike right now for 1 resource. Exhaust a character you control to immediately declare his attack and resolve his attack against any eligible enemy target. We're going to resolve it against this guy here. So Legolas is going to attack for 5. He's going to do 3 damage. Destroy this guy. Okay. Place 2 progress tokens here with his response. He's going to ready. Okay. And I'll resolve enemy attacks. Just going to be the Muck Adder. I want to do something crazy and defend with Grimbeorn. For 3 against 2. No shadow effect. I wanted that to be thematic, so if like he got poisoned, he has to go back to his house and heal up, and we could have put Grimbeorn in the discard. So, and not lost any of our guys. But he's been such a good help, you know. It's like taking out these trolls. So you can do this whole quest without him, by the way. It's not like a big deal. All right. And over here, this guy doesn't attack. So, first player is going to declare attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we really should have defended with her because she has this, but I was just having fun. So, 4 attack. Alright, now, before we declare an attack over here, I want to do one last thing. For score, I'll spend 3. This is why I didn't play the forest snare. Galadrim's Greeting. Reduce a player's threat by 6. We're going to reduce this player threat by 6, our own player. Okay. Let's see if we can get this guy in one go. So he doesn't attack. We're going to declare player attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's more than enough. 2 defense, 10 damage. That's it, guys. That's game. That's it. So, really clean run of conflict at the Carrock. Killed all our enemies. Spent time turtling up, I think like 6 rounds or something like that. Not too hard. We had everything we needed. We had all our things that we needed to take care of these trolls. Pretty easy fight if you can get prepared. If they all come at you at once, it's pretty crazy. I did almost forget to raise my threat that one time because that troll gives every troll the raise threat thing. And so in some rare scenario, if that troll, the one we just killed, gave a hill troll the ability to raise threat, and a hill troll like trampled with his effect, you would both raise your threat from the extra damage, and then you would raise your threat 3 more from the ability he gives the hill troll. Because we did take 1 attack from this hill troll, we had Grimbjorn defend it, and then we took 1 that might be the only hill troll attack we took all game. No, we took 1 more from the one that has a big attack. I think on Grimbjorn. We took like 2 troll attacks the whole game, both on Grimbjorn. Or did we not? Maybe we took 3, because I think we lost yeah, we lost a couple of chumps too. We lost a Guard of Citadel. That's like one of the few guys we lost. Oh no. Well, we didn't take enough hill troll. Yeah, that was the only guy we lost. Yeah, so maybe 2 or 3 attacks the whole game from trolls. 3, I think. But otherwise, we were ready. Everything came together good. You could run Frodo in this too, and like have him just soak up the threat on like a couple of the trolls, but your threat will go up pretty fast. That's about everything I can think of right now to talk about in terms of strategy. So, pretty good run. We got 1 of the 2 hill trolls, the extra ones, and we got the Marsh Adder. We had enough forest snares to help us out. That's what was left. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back with Journey to Roscabel.